Hey, before we dive in, a quick heads up. This series is called Validating the BPD Life, and that's exactly what it's here to do. Validate the experience of living with borderline personality disorder, hopefully making you feel a little less alone. That said, if you don't have BPD, there's still value here, especially if you've loved or currently love someone who does. But fair warning, we'll be talking about some heavy stuff. Self-harm, self-destructive behavior, hospitalizations, and a lot of emotional pain. You might feel grief, guilt, anger, rage, shame, or confusion while watching. And if you do, that makes sense. Don't judge yourself for feeling anything. Don't shame yourself for being triggered. Emotions show up for a reason, even if you don't know that reason right away. If it helps, try saying, "It makes sense I'd feel this way after everything I've been through." And if you've ever been hospitalized or felt like you were losing your mind, I wrote a book about my own experience at a psych ward, and you can grab it at the link right here. Or here. To be honest, I'm not sure where I'm going to put it, so I'm just going to say grab it. It supports the work I do and might help you feel a little less lonely on this journey. All right, without further delay and nothing more to say, buckle up, Buttercup. It is time to walk the middle path towards common humanity and a wise mind. Allow me to tell you about the time I ghosted someone I was in love with. We were young. It was passionate. I embodied all the hits, John Cusack, Heath Ledger, Patrick Dempsey, Patrick Swayze, Will Smith, and of course Mr. Darcy, in my head and heart. Then, one day, she did something imperfect, and suddenly, someone else seemed shiny, new. And what's that? Perfect. So I pulled away and then ghosted the love of my life. Here's the tragic part. As if believing romantic Hollywood portraits of love isn't tragic enough. The idea of one true love is a myth. And the idea you could lose out on love entirely by ending one relationship is also a myth. That's not something I neither knew nor believed before my diagnosis and dialectical journey into myself. Alas, the tragedy continues. This sort of love story happened again and again and again. Yeah, turns out when you have borderline personality disorder and you have no idea what the DBT skills are, or that you even fucking have BPD, you tend to see the world and the people in it as either all good or all bad. Very little room for human nature. Of course, I was doing this internally too, devaluing and overvaluing myself, making myself the hero or monster of each story, oscillating between the good guy and the villain. The amount of love I have been so lucky to experience in my life is astronomical. I have gotten to be loved in ways people go their entire life without ever even considering. Yet, with each relationship, eventually, inevitably, something kept on happening. The overvaluation moved into devaluation, and the person went from being on an untouchable pedestal to the bottom of the barrel. Why? Because I was continuing to absolutely sabotage my relationships. Here's how. I used to think I was unlovable. Not because anyone told me I was, well, not directly, but because every time someone got close to loving me, something inside me panicked, and I'd ruin it. The love would be as real as the fear. Every soft moment felt dangerous. Every compliment eventually felt fake and empty. I genuinely did not believe them because in my head I'd already ruined the relationship by thinking it was no longer perfect and staying would only make their life worse. In theory, pre-diagnosis, that would not have been 100% off base, but it was also not 100% true either. Yay! Dialectical reframing. In those moments, I had to do whatever I could to push them away before they could leave first. Sometimes it looked like picking fights out of nowhere. Not because I wanted drama, because part of me believed that if someone really loved me, they'd prove it by staying through the storm. Other times, it looked like disappearing. I'd shut down, vanish for a few days, tell myself they were better off without me. Maybe everyone was. While I just referred to it as self-sabotage, I now see it was self-protection. It was my nervous system screaming, "This is too much. Too good, too close." My heart didn't know how to trust the safety it had always dreamed of. I'd test people. I'd say things like, "You don't really mean that." Or, "Trust me, I'm a monster and you'll be much happier without me." Which was really me saying, I can't tolerate the parts of me that are scarred and scared and messy and afraid of hope. You're amazing, so you shouldn't have to tolerate me at all. If they reassured me, I'd still feel empty. If they hesitated, I'd spiral. My brain only knew extremes. Love me perfectly or don't love me at all. And no one could win. Not even me. Sometimes I'd cheat or flirt just to see if I still had power because deep down I felt both powerless and unworthy. Sometimes I'd get so overwhelmed by these thoughts I would shut down. No words, no movement, a frozen, terrified human who didn't know why he was starting to cry. The worst part? I believed I was protecting them. I thought I was sparing them from the brokenness I saw in myself. But what I was really doing was avoiding the terrifying, beautiful work of learning how to stay. Stay in discomfort, stay in connection, and stay with my own big feelings without making them someone else's responsibility. It wasn't until DBT that I began to understand what was happening underneath all my chaos. That my nervous system wasn't evil, it was injured. That my crazy behaviors were often survival responses. That I didn't need to be ashamed of my intensity. I needed tools to hold it. I still get scared. I still feel the urge to run sometimes. Thankfully, now I know that love is not a test someone passes. It's a practice I show up for, even when I'm trembling. If you've ever loved someone like me, thank you. If you are someone like me, keep going. You're not too much. You are simply learning how to be loved in a world that told you you had to be perfect to deserve it. If you're presently experiencing something like this, fear not. There is hope. It's an acronym. DBT fucking loves their acronyms. Let me break it down. Dear man, give, and fast. Which gave me something I never had before. A map. Now, I give it to you. First, Dear man, which taught me how to effectively speak my truth. Before this skill, my communication was either silence or explosions. I either let everything slide to keep the peace, or I'd wait until I was drowning and then demand things in a way no one could hear. Well, no, they could hear it. I just don't know if they could receive it because of the volume and intensity. Dear man broke it down for me. Describe, express, assert, reinforce. Now, instead of lashing out, I can say, hey, when you didn't text me back last night, I felt anxious and abandoned. What I need is reassurance, not constant contact, just clarity. Can we talk about it? That alone has saved relationships I used to burn down. Next, mindful, appear confident, negotiate. These help me stay grounded instead of spiraling into forget it, you don't care anyway, or you don't understand. I could actually stay present in the conversation. That used to be impossible. Then comes give, which helps me stay soft around the edges when I want to shut down. When I'm afraid of losing someone, my instinct is to get defensive. I stop making eye contact. I act like I don't care. But give reminds me that gentleness isn't weakness, it's a skill. It stands for be gentle, act interested, validate, and use an easy manner. These aren't only tips, they're anchors. Now, even in conflict, I can breathe, lean in, soften my voice, and stay curious instead of combative. I can say, I get why you're upset. I'm listening. I want to understand. That used to feel completely impossible. And now it's one of the most powerful things I can offer. My full presence, even when I'm triggered. The fast skill helps me stop betraying myself to keep people. For a long time, I thought love meant self-abandonment. I'd say yes when I meant no. I'd apologize for things I didn't do. I'd let people walk over my boundaries because I was afraid of rejection. More afraid of rejection than resentment. Fast changed that. It stands for be fair, apologies only when necessary, stick to your values, and be truthful. Now, I can say no without crumbling. I can hold boundaries with kindness. I can walk away from a situation that violates my values. Not because I don't care, but because I finally do. About myself. This is the dialectic. I can be vulnerable and assertive. I can care for others without abandoning myself. I can ask for what I need without manipulation or shame. These skills didn't just help me stop sabotaging relationships. They helped me start building new ones from a place of clarity, self-respect, and actual connection. I'm still learning. I still have moments where I feel that old panic rise up, that urge to test, to push, to disappear. Now though, I pause, and I breathe, and I ask, and I stay. The hope in sharing this is the ethos of this entire series. To help you feel less alone. If this sounds familiar to you, it's because it might be. Many of us experience these intense urges to destroy before we are destroyed, to share the most messy and painful parts of ourselves with someone in order to test whether what we think about ourselves, usually that we're monsters and deserving of love, is true. Even when a person does stay after this sharing, our doubt eventually creeps back in and we begin thinking, if they only knew. And the cycle continues. We can break this cycle. You can break this cycle. With what? That's right. Self-kindness, self-compassion, validation, and the fucking skills.